This is the first talk in a series of lectures on the central nervous system, the periphery nervous system, and the waters they live in. These lectures relate to Seminar 4. I'm also recording in nature in a van, and it's a very windy day and it's raining, so you may hear rain on the van, you may hear wind blowing on the van or wind in the trees, so that is all going on. And that is also the breath. And there are anatomy paintings to go with these lectures, which you can download from my website. They're free of charge from my website. And it is good to download them because then you can have full-size images of what I'm talking about. And also in these lectures I'll be inviting you to feel these areas within yourself, so you have your own inner experience of what they're like. And that may be different to how I'm describing it, which is fine, which is good. However you experience them is perfect for yourself. So if it varies from how I'm describing it, that really is not a problem. This is the central nervous system. We have the cerebrum at the top, the lower brain inside the cerebrum, the spinal cord, and then around this we have a layer of cranial fluid, and around that we have a membrane called the Dura. So the physical body of this is the central nervous system floating in cranial fluid. There are also ventricles of cranial fluid wrapped around the lower brain, inside the lower brain, and down the length of the spinal cord. Here's a picture of the ventricles. These are the lateral ventricles. There's two of those, one behind the other. This is the third ventricle, the fourth ventricle, and then this carries on down the whole length of the spinal cord. This is full of cranial fluid. Also, the whole body of the central nervous system is full of cranial fluid. All of the fluids in the body are based in water, and the cranial fluid is very refined. It's a very fine gauge filter that the cranial fluid comes through in both the ventricles and within the central nervous system. And the fluid made is, because it's a fine gauge filter, it's 99% water. There's a large water content, which is very important. So the waters through this whole area are exactly the same, 99% water then added to this there's sodium, so the water is salty. It's highly oxygenated, it's got oxygen within it. And it's got glucose, the central nervous system works on glucose. It feeds on glucose, breathes oxygen. Sodium is very important for the communication, the electrical charges that move along the axons from the neurons. And other minerals that are helpful to these neural cells. But this whole area, the whole central nervous system, is 85% water. The actual physical central nervous system, this is 85% water. Then that's floating in water, 99% water, and at its core has ventricles. Ventricles are like caves, they're spaces full of water, 99% water, salt water, highly oxygenated salt water with glucose added to it. And once something gets to being 99% water, you might as well just call it water, seawater. That's probably not 99% water. Tap water, I'm not really sure what that is. But this is very refined water. It's like mineral water with a bit of salt and glucose added to it, and then highly oxygenated. So water has qualities. Water receives the light. Water is a medium. So there's a lot of water in this area. Water will receive visible light, receive non-visible light. It will receive energies similar to light from the subtle realms, from the universe, from the higher self, from the earth, and all colours of light, all shades of light, dark light, light light. Water is a medium for this to travel through. So this area of ourselves, one, it's a high percentage of water. It's 85% water, and then water around it, and then water within ventricles within it. It's a high percentage of water. So in a way it's designed to receive these energies, and also we create these energies in ourselves. There are the higher energies, the earth, these different energies that come to us. But all of these energies are reflected in us, in our anatomy, in our nervous system, in the water. Water isn't just a medium for energies and life to travel through and to hold life. It is alive. And the things that are in it, like in the sea, the things that the sea is alive, and also the plants, the fish, the animals that are in the sea, they're also made of water. You know, what we equate life and intelligence to is normally something physical, but that normally something physical thing is actually normally made mainly of water. And we have to look at what we equate as intelligence. What exactly is that? But when you become, quite a lot of big drops of rain here, so you might hear some clicks. But when you become aware of this water, it has an intelligent quality to it. It feels intelligent. It has an intelligence. And this may be the intelligence running through it, or it may be the intelligence within it. Water also has a memory. It accommodates wherever it is. It fits to wherever it is. It takes on the energies of wherever it is and receives the energies coming to it. Very accommodating. And as it travels off through our system, it takes that with it, as well as shining through it. So if you think of a river, it will take the memory of wherever it's been. When it was rain, when it was a stream. Take that memory. Plus the light will shine through it. So as this water travels off through our body, not only does the light, the energies, the light on all levels travel through it, it takes where it's been as a memory to travel through the whole body. This is some of the cells within the central nervous system. This is a ventricle. This is just clear 99% water. The cells through the whole central nervous system are the same, through the spinal cord, through the lower brain, the cerebellum, the cerebrum. They're all the same cells. You have neurons, myelinated glial cells, microglial cells, astrocytes. These are synapses, capillaries. They're all the same, but notice how it's different to the body. There's a lot of space. They're all connected by tentacles. So the cell bodies aren't together, they're connected by tentacles, so they swim in the sea. The sea moves through them, and these little microglial cells, they swim just through the body, through the cranial fluid, and descend on infections. They are the immune system, and they don't, within the body, T cells are travelling within the lymph. Within the central nervous system, there's no particular carriage for them, no tubes. They just swim through the central nervous system. And these are like sea anemones, and the sea is moving through them. It's a very aqueous environment. It's a bit like looking into an aquarium. So we'll go into this, how these cells work, and a new science of how these cells work. The new science actually is that the glial cells, which they haven't paid much more attention to, they're communicating directly through the water. They don't have to be touching to communicate. They're broadcasting like cell phones out through the water, and they're receiving like cell phones through the water. And there's something like 20,000 times more communicating going on through these little glial cells than through the neurons, which normally have been attributed to the communication within our central nervous system. So we'll go into that in depth in a later talk. But anyway, we're looking at the waters within this. So you can see this is a very aquatic environment. It's like looking into an aquarium or into the sea, and it's like seawater with very oxygenated and with glucose in it, and all of these little sea anemones and fish and starfish and things. So the whole central nervous system is very watery. It has the quality of jelly. It's the same consistency as jelly, with water around it. It's jelly floating in water with caves or ventricles of water at its core. So it's good to feel this within yourself. So just closing your eyes. And breathe. If you know holographic breathing, this is an excellent means to travel within. And breathing and feeling your whole central nervous system. And the water there, and what an excellent communicator of energies and light it is. Very refined environment, and we're paying special attention to the water flowing through this environment and its ability to be a conduit for light, the earth, the higher energies, the higher self, to travel through it as a means of communication. And this also, the glial cells are receiving information through the water as well, so that all the glial cells can hear this, see this, feel this. And then allowing that to travel off down through your nerves. And however that feels is fine, but notice often it's deeply relaxing as it releases from the central nervous system off into the nerves and travels out into the body. It's like different layers of a transformer, deeply relaxing. And all of that light, that fluid, that energy travels off through the nerves, carrying that memory out into the body. And after a while the body starts communicating back and the light travels the other way, but generally from the body it's more of an earth type energy or a darker energy traveling up the nerves and in. It communicates both ways. One way has one energy traveling out, generally has a brighter energy. Traveling back generally has a darker energy. Breathe. So this is the cerebrum, and within it we have the lower brain. Generally you won't see the lower brain, it will be within the cerebrum, but as I'm doing this in watercolours we can see the lower brain. And this is important because as we don't normally see that, we quite often just the image gives the impression that it's all this, it's all the cerebrum. The cerebrum has a much higher quality. This is the earth. So let's look at that, let's look at the different areas. Here we have the lower brain, the thalamus, the midbrain, the pons, the medulla oblongata, the spinal cord dropping out, and cerebellum. the lower brain. For me, there's a deep connection to the earth here. This grounds the cerebrum around it, gives it its earth, it gives it its history. For me, this is a very timeless quality to this, as if you can time travel from here. That's my experience of it. It's a very timeless quality that you can travel back in time and also travel forwards in time. It has that quality, and it has a deep connection to the earth and our lineage. It somehow, for me, holds our lineage and all the stories that the native people tell of their lineage. For me, they're connecting to this part, because we generally don't see this part in pictures, don't communicate, but here it is as a picture. You can communicate with that now. Lower brain. So closing your eyes and just breathing, and dropping down and back into the lower brain. You may feel it, well, however you feel it is fine. Just breathing, drop down and back. And this is a nice place to hang out. The lower brain doesn't house the intellect in the same way that the cerebrum does. It has its own intelligence, but there's a bit of a more ancient quality to that intelligence, and a timelessness to it, and a deep tactile connection to the earth through it. So it's quite a nice place to hang out. Those are my experiences. However you feel it is fine. So this is the tentorium. This covers the lower brain, and the thalamus comes up through it. It's my alarm going off, sorry. So this is the thalamus coming up through it. I'm just trying to see where that is. Okay, I'll turn that off. Okay, so here we have the tentorium that the brainstem is coming up through. This is the thalamus at the top. This communicates with the whole cerebrum, and the whole cerebrum connects with the thalamus. That communicates down through the brainstem, which becomes the spinal cord. This is like an extension of the spinal cord. Then it spreads out into the cerebrum. And here we have it with the cerebrum atop. This more holds the intellect, and also a lot of light. You know, this whole thing makes a port, and a lot of light, cosmic energies, higher self, universal energies will come in different ways into this area. But then this grounds it. This gives it its earth, its history, its time, connection to the earth. So it's important to have this. And then it goes down the spinal cord. This gives it more earth. This grounds it again. And then it goes out through the nerves, and this grounds it further. So it's like layers of a transformer. So when I'm speaking of the central nervous system, I'm talking of this whole thing, this whole self-grounding, enlightening organism. Because quite often when somebody talks about the central nervous system, people see this. So, and get pulled into that energy. So you end up in a very heady, light, intellectual place. There's nothing wrong with the intellect. But it's good if you are in contact with all of it, because then there's a balanced quality and it's not all up here. Feel all of it. So as I talk of the central nervous system through all of these lectures, then you can embody that and feel that inside, that it includes the spinal cord, that it includes the lower brain. So closing your eyes and just feeling that all of that, the cerebrum, the lower brain, the spinal cord, and breathe. Especially if you know holographic breathing, breathe. And then let that travel out through the nerves. Notice how that grounds it further. Allow that to go into the body. Feeling that whole area, whatever the qualities of the energies are, is fine. Relax the spine, feel the spinal cord, relax the lower brain, feel the lower brain, relax the cerebrum, feel the cerebrum. It's good to hang out down and below the cerebrum. It's nice to feel it from below rather than being in it. I like to hang out kind of in the neck, really, in the spinal cord, in the neck or in the lower brain. And certainly as the energies start poking up a bit within the cerebrum, within the lower brain, it's good to hang out a bit below it, even down further into the heart, and viewing up from the heart, or the back of the heart, back, its spinal cord behind the heart. And then let that spread out through the body, through all of the nerves, and breathe. Okay, good. That is the first talk in the series of lectures, and in the second talk we're going to look at where this fluid comes from, how it's produced, and more about the qualities of the fluid and the cells that it's travelling through. Thank you for listening.